High-speed police chase turns into a wrong-way head-on collision. The good news, no one injured out here. Well, those ratings are right here, and we'd be glad to teach the Oklahoman how to read them if the paper's interested in the facts. Sir, if you're gay yourself, how could you have so much hatred towards gays? Our undercover camera caught state workers shopping, visiting acquaintances, and running errands while you're paying them to work. Were you coming here to take pictures of a nude college student? They are not even close right now to having all of these fires out. They're digging their heels in right now on what they hope will be their final stand. But you weren't at the meeting?
Thank you. I don't even remember.
You don't remember? You're not saying you weren't there? We're live right now. Sheriff John Wetzel here. You've been on the scene the last couple of minutes. Everyone going to be okay after this? Be sure you copy down all of those serial numbers, because if you do not and they wind up being stolen, not even police can help. On some days, the city manager gambles at a casino several times a day, stopping only to go to the bank or back to work. When we asked whether he was gambling on city time, he was less than truthful with us. Mr. Hathcote, Nick Winkler with Fox 25 out of Oklahoma City. Yeah. Ada's city manager, David Hathcote, is sitting at a slot machine. When we confront him, we had been tracking Hathcote over the course of several months, sending a photographer inside with a hidden camera. On January 5th, we parked in front of Hathcote's car at the casino, called City Hall, and asked for him.
Oh, he's at a funeral right now?
Records show Hathcote took no leave on this day, though he does step outside to talk on the phone. In all, Hathcote spends 2.5 hours at the casino on this day.
I sat down one machine over from him.
On January 12th, our photographer spots Hathcote inside, gambling again, though City Hall tells us Hathcote is out running errands.
This is the third trip.
After Hathcote's third trip to the casino this day, he leaves and stops at a bank. Afterward, Hathcote goes back to the casino for a fourth time in one day.
You barely see the no parking.
On January 21st, we catch Hathcote parked in a no parking zone, and later find him back at the casino, where we begin questioning him. Are you here on city time or your personal time?
No, I'm taking off this afternoon.
We checked, and that's not true. Hathcote's time records show he put down 8 hours worked on the day we confronted him at the casino, so we asked if he could show us documentation proving he was on leave each time we caught him at the casino.
Yeah.
You could?
I think so, yeah.
You're not sure, though?
Well, I'm pretty sure I can.
No such documentation exists, though. Hathcote writes down he had worked 8 hours on each of the days we saw him at the casino. There's more. A source of ours kept a log of the dates Hathcote's cars were photographed outside the casino. The time card Hathcote signed shows he worked 8 hours on all but one of those days.
I usually take off if yeah.
Ada's employee handbook lists falsifying records as an offense that could warrant days off without pay, demotion, or discharge. Gambling while on the job also violates the city's rules of conduct. If you lose any money up here at all, I don't know what your luck's like, but is that all your personal money?
Yes.
Ada's city council called a special meeting 4 days after we confronted Hathcote at the casino. The only item on the agenda, Hathcote's job. Councilors discussed it privately for nearly an hour. And again for nearly 2.5 hours at a regularly scheduled meeting this week. Councilors have not returned our calls, and none would agree to look at our documentation. Mayor Cups, yes. Nick Winkler with Fox 25. So, after the meeting adjourned, we asked Mayor Roger Cups if Hathcote would face any consequences.
All I can say is that everything's under investigation, and we're looking into the matter.
The mayor will not say whether the investigation includes an audit of the city's books. Hathcote makes nearly $110,000 a year and was given a raise last year. Depending on your findings, would he have to reimburse taxpayers for any monies that were spent on his salary while he was at the casino?
Being it's an ongoing investigation, I couldn't, discuss any of the details of it.
The city also gives Hathcote a $6,000 a year car allowance. Sources tell us that car has not been seen at the casino since we visited with Hathcote. Are you able to effectively manage the city of Ada from a slot machine?
I can. No, when I'm off, there's somebody else in charge.
The city's handbook says policy violations like falsifying records may also be violations of criminal law. So we asked the district attorney if he'll call for an investigation. DA says he has no plans to do so right now, but also says he's not seen any of our documentation. Lawmakers say your tax dollars are being wasted. Our undercover camera caught state workers shopping, visiting acquaintances, and running errands while you're paying them to work. It's a loophole in the law, and now legislators say they intend to fix it. These are the state workers you pay to patrol the highways, the lakes, and to make your driver's license. And this is the state worker you've been paying to stay home for nearly a year. Carla Campbell has been suspended from the Department of Public Safety. Campbell stays inside her home for days at a time. On others, our undercover camera caught her shopping, running errands, and visiting with acquaintances. Some days, she's not even out of her bathrobe before 6 in the evening.
Ms. Campbell? Hi there, my name's Nick Winkler. I work over at Fox 25. We'd like to talk with you.
We caught Campbell outside a convenience store during one of her shopping trips and asked if she wanted to work.
Yeah, of course I want to go back.
You want to go back to work?
Yeah, I love it there.
You love DPS?
Love it. Absolutely love it, yeah.
Campbell is not the only DPS worker being paid not to work for an extended period of time, but figuring up the total number of state workers on extended suspension with pay is difficult. No one keeps track of each agency's totals.
Could you justify to the taxpayers why they should keep paying you to stay home, to shop, that sort of thing?
I can't talk to you.
There's more. The way the law is written, state workers could theoretically continue to be paid to stay home forever.
That's correct. I think that's a loophole that is created.
Scott Barger speaks for the Oklahoma Public Employees Association, or OPEA, which represents 10,000 state workers. He says in the past, agencies have abusively used lengthy suspensions to intimidate workers.
But certainly I would think that every state agency out there needs all hands on deck, does not need employees that are on suspension with pay for extended period of time. I don't think that's what this law was designed for, and I certainly don't think that's what the taxpayers expect.
DPS seems to be confused about the rules. First, it told us Campbell is on administrative leave. If that's true, then DPS is violating a state rule which limits workers to 32 hours of leave a year. Later, though, DPS suggests Campbell is suspended, but provided us no evidence it's investigating Campbell, like state rules say it must, if it's to keep extending her suspension every 20 days.
And you're allowing people to be off indefinitely? I would suggest that's a ghost employee.
State Representative Mike Christian says DPS is actually rewarding bad behavior. So, why was Campbell suspended in the first place?
Police said you had harbored a fugitive. Is that true?
That is not true.
It's not true?
Not true.
Campbell has been charged with a felony. Police say she lied to them when they asked if she was hiding a fugitive in her home.
They said there was a transient in your bedroom. Did they make it up?
Oh, for God's sake. A transient in my bed. That's not true.
State rules do not allow court proceedings to be taken into account when determining whether to extend a suspension, though DPS suggests Campbell is suspended until her criminal charges are resolved.
Again, I think it's unfair for the taxpayer to have to pick that bill up. You either need to put that person to work or fire them.
Procedures are in place to handle disciplinary decisions quickly.
You know, it's a judgment call, and sometimes there's other considerations that come into play.
Employment attorney Rand Eddy says while some state workers do have special protections, he says agencies that collect sound evidence and follow the rules can fire workers relatively easily. The fact Campbell's status is still uncertain frustrates some.
It makes me mad. It makes me mad as a taxpayer.
Stuart Jolly heads the taxpayer rights group Americans for Prosperity. He and OPEA's Barger want the law changed. They want to limit the length of time workers can be suspended with pay, and they want the state to keep track of all who are. Now lawmakers are considering it.
This indefinite suspension is it's not right, and it's a loophole that we probably ought to fix.
Until it is fixed.
You are stalking me here. What are you doing?
No, ma'am, I'm not stalking you. You're free to leave anytime you want. I'm not keeping you here.
You'll continue paying Campbell not to work. Legislators say they'll consider changing the law when the session starts in a few months.